The message came without warning. In the central communications hub of Lumina Prime, Operator Tella's four slender hands froze above the control panel. The universal distress code flashed across her screen, a simple pattern recognized by every spacefaring civilization. Her large silver eyes widened as the transmission clarified. This is High Speaker Molo of the Veltar Confederation. We are under attack by an unknown hostile force. They have breached our outer defenses. Millions are dead. Our weapons have no effect. Please, anyone who receives this, send help. The message repeated 3 times before cutting to static. Tella's skin paled from vibrant blue to a sickly white as she forwarded the transmission to her superiors. The Luminari were not warriors. Their species had evolved on a gentle world with mild seasons and few predators. Their civilization valued art, science, and peaceful exchange. Their ships carried no weapons. When faced with the distress call from their longtime trading partners, they did the only thing they could. They amplified the signal and sent it across the galactic communication network. The message bounced through dozens of systems. Most recipients responded with sympathy but offered no action. The Veltar were nearly 6,000 light-years from the core worlds. By the time anyone organized a response, it would likely be too late. But at the edge of charted space, the message reached a world classified as something else entirely. Earth. Designation: Deathworld. Admiral Marcus Reed stood with his hands clasped behind his back, staring at the holographic display in the command center of Earth's orbital defense station. Around him, officers worked quietly at their stations, occasionally glancing at their commander. "Play it again," Reed ordered, his voice calm despite the tension in his shoulders. The message from the Veltar repeated. Reed had never met a Veltar personally. Few humans had encountered alien species since Earth's relatively recent acceptance into the Galactic Coalition, but he recognized the patterns of the attack. "Analysis?" he asked. Lieutenant Diaz, the MICE communications officer, cleared her throat. "The attack pattern matches 3 similar incidents in the past 2 standard years, sir. All at the edges of known space, all resulting in complete loss of the defending population." Reed nodded. "And the Coalition response?" "Investigative committees have been formed," Diaz replied, unable to keep the bitterness from her voice. "No, direct military action has been authorized." Reed wasn't surprised. The Coalition was primarily composed of species from gentle worlds, creatures who had never evolved through the brutal process of constant survival that had shaped humanity. They didn't understand the concept of fighting fire with fire. "Get me the Earth Council," Reed said. Priority 1. The council chamber was divided, as it often was when military matters arose. 12 representatives from Earth's unified territories sat around a circular table. Holographic displays showing the Veltar transmission and data about the previous attacks. "The Veltar are nearly 6 months away at our best speed, Counselor," Patel argued. "By the time we arrive, the situation will be over one way or another. And if these attackers move on to the next system, and the next," Reed countered. "This is the 4th such attack in 2 years. There's a pattern forming. Earth has just gained recognition in the Coalition," Counselor Jones added. "We should be cautious about military action that might frighten our new allies." Reed resisted the urge to laugh. Earth had gained recognition, yes, but not acceptance. Humans were viewed with caution, even fear, by many galactic species. The term Deathworlder wasn't a compliment. "Let's be honest," Reed said, stepping forward. "The Coalition doesn't trust us because we're stronger, more aggressive, and more durable than most species out there. They see our military as a potential threat." He paused, letting his words sink in. "But that strength is exactly what the Veltar need right now." The room fell silent. Reed pressed his advantage. "Whatever is attacking the Veltar has overwhelmed a civilization with technology centuries ahead of our own. The Coalition worlds can't or won't respond with force. We can. And if we don't stop this threat out there, it might eventually reach us here." Council President Thomas rubbed his temples. "What are you proposing, Admiral?" "The 1st and 3rd fleets. 40 ships, 15,000 personnel. We can reach Veltar space in 5 months, 20 days at emergency FTL. That's nearly half our defensive capability," Patel exclaimed. "If this enemy can destroy the Veltar, they're a bigger threat to Earth than anything in our neighborhood," Reed replied firmly. The debate continued for hours. In the end, pragmatism won over caution. Earth could not afford to ignore a threat of this magnitude, and the opportunity to demonstrate human value to the coalition was too valuable to pass up. 2 weeks later, Reed stood on the bridge of the U.S. Relentless, Earth's largest battleship. At nearly 2 kilometers long, it dwarfed most coalition vessels. Its hull was thick enough to withstand direct asteroid impacts, and its weapon systems could reduce a small moon to rubble. To the coalition, such a ship seemed unnecessarily robust, almost barbaric. To humans, it represented the ultimate insurance policy. Through the viewports, Reed could see the rest of the fleet assembling, a mix of heavy cruisers, destroyers, and support ships. Each was a testament to humanity's evolutionary path, designed by beings who had never stopped preparing for the worst. "All ships report ready, Admiral," announced Commander Foster from the tactical station. Reed nodded, then pressed a button on his chair, opening a channel to the entire fleet. "This is Admiral Reed. In 5 minutes we depart on the longest journey humanity has ever undertaken. We go to the aid of a people we've never met, against an enemy we don't understand." He paused, looking around at his crew, men and women, who understood what it meant to be born on a world that had tried to kill their ancestors every day. "The galaxy has spent the last century wondering why Earth produced beings like us, stronger, more resilient, more adaptable than most. They've feared us for these qualities." Reed's voice hardened with conviction. "Today we show them why these qualities exist. Today we prove that being born on a death world wasn't a curse. It was preparation." Throughout the fleet, 15,000 humans listened. Unlike the gentle species of the coalition, they understood the harsh truth that sometimes survival required battle. They were the descendants of those who had endured ice ages, predators, disease, and their own warlike tendencies. If any force in the galaxy was prepared to face an unknown horror, it was them. "Transit in 30 seconds, called the navigation. Officer Reed settled into his command chair as the massive engines powered up. "Send a message to Earth Council. Operation Sanctuary is underway." He looked out at the stars, the same stars that had watched impassively as humanity clawed its way up from the mud. "Let's go show the galaxy what Deathworlders can do." The great ships vanished into FTL, leaving Earth behind. A deadly world, sending its deadly children to face an enemy that had never encountered true predators before. The hunt had begun. The human fleet dropped out of FTL at the edge of luminary space, 40 ships appearing like dark phantoms against the backdrop of stars. The sudden arrival triggered immediate alarm throughout the local defense network. On Lumina Prime, the planetary council gathered in emergency session. View screens displayed the human vessels, massive angular constructions of metal and composite materials. The largest was nearly 2 kilometers in length, its hull marked with scars from previous battles and bristling with weapon emplacements. "They're enormous," whispered Council Leader Vell, his delicate fingers trembling slightly. The reports from the coalition weren't exaggerated. Ambassador Tella, recently promoted after her handling of the initial distress call, stepped forward. "We requested help. The humans have answered. But we expected coalition peacekeepers, not..." Vel gestured at the screen. "This." Tella understood the fear. The Luminary had never seen warships of this scale. Their species had evolved in a peaceful environment with plentiful resources and few natural threats. The concept of building vessels designed specifically for combat was alien to them. "We should establish communication," she suggested, "before misunderstandings occur." Admiral Reed watched the small luminary diplomatic vessel approach the Relentless. It was elegant and graceful, with smooth lines and translucent sections that seemed to capture and redirect starlight. It was also, Reed noted, completely unarmored, a beautiful glass sculpture floating through a universe full of hammers. "They're requesting permission to dock, Admiral," reported Lieutenant Diaz. "Granted, adjust environmental controls in Docking Bay 3 to match luminary preferences." Reed stood, lower gravity to 0.8 standard, increase humidity to 70% and reduce lighting to 60% of human standard. As Reed made his way to the docking bay, he reviewed what he knew about the Luminari. Physically fragile compared to humans with 4 arms, bioluminescent skin and large sensitive eyes adapted for a dimmer world than Earth. Technologically advanced, particularly in communications and environmental sciences, but with almost no weapons technology. The Luminari vessel docked with surprising precision. Reed waited as the bay adjusted to the visitors' environmental needs, watching as the ship's boarding ramp extended. Ambassador Tella emerged first, flanked by 2 aides. Reed immediately noticed her cautious movements. Even at reduced levels, the gravity was challenging for her. Her skin glowed with a soft blue light that pulsed slightly with each step. Reed stepped forward and bowed slightly, careful not to tower over the ambassador. At just over 2 meters tall, he was massive compared to the Luminari, who rarely exceeded 1.5 meters. Ambassador Tella, I'm Admiral Marcus Reed of the United Earth Defense Force. We received your distress call. Tella's large, silvery eyes studied Reed with undisguised wonder and apprehension. Admiral, your response is unexpected. The Coalition informed us that Earth is extremely distant from our sector. 6 months at emergency FTL, Reed confirmed. But we believe the situation warranted immediate action. Tella seemed to struggle with the concept. You traveled for half a standard year based on a distress call from a species you've never met? Reed's expression remained neutral. We recognize the attack pattern. This isn't the first time this enemy is struck. We have reason to believe they won't stop with the Veltar. The meeting continued in a conference room adjusted for luminary comfort. Reed had brought his senior officers, while Tella was accompanied by scientific and diplomatic advisors. The humans towered over the aliens, their movements careful and restrained to avoid alarming their hosts. The Veltar were attacked 3 standard months ago, Tella explained, activating a holographic display. Their outer colonies fell within days. Their homeworld has been under siege for the past 2 months. The display showed a garden world much like the Luminari homeworld, gentle, beautiful, and now partially in ruins. The attacking ships were organic-looking, with irregular shapes and pulsing lights along their hulls. We know almost nothing about the attackers, Tella continued. The Veltar call them the Scourge. They appear to use some form of neural weapon that incapacitates most sentient beings. The victims experience total neural collapse before death. Commander Foster leaned forward, studying the images. Neural weapons, targeting the nervous system? Yes, confirmed one of Tella's scientific advisors. The weapon appears to overload neural pathways, causing system-wide failure. Most Coalition species have similar neural structures, making us all vulnerable. Reed exchanged glances with his officers. Human neurophysiology is different from Coalition standard. Our nervous systems evolved on a high-gravity world with constant environmental threats. The Luminary scientist blinked rapidly, their version of surprise. You believe humans might be resistant? It's possible, Reed said cautiously. We won't know until we encounter them. The meeting was interrupted by an urgent communication from the fleet's outer patrol. Admiral, Lieutenant Diaz's voice came through clearly. Sensors have detected an unidentified vessel approaching at high speed. It matches the configuration of the Scourge ships from the Luminari data. Reed stood immediately. They've detected us. Ambassador, please return to your vessel. We'll continue this discussion after we've dealt with our visitor. The Luminari looked alarmed but complied quickly. The Scourge scout ship approached aggressively, its organic hull pulsing with reddish light. It was smaller than the Relentless but still formidable, approximately the size of a human destroyer. They're scanning us, reported the sensor officer. Unusual energy patterns detected. Reed watched the main view screen intently. That would be their neural weapon charging. All personnel, prepare for possible neural attack. Moments later, a wave of energy washed over the human fleet. On the bridge of the Relentless, several officers winced, pressing hands to their temples. Reed himself felt a sharp headache bloom behind his eyes. Status report, he demanded, fighting through the discomfort. All ships reporting similar effects, sir, Diaz called out. Mild to moderate headaches, some disorientation, but all systems and personnel remain functional. Reed allowed himself a grim smile. As we suspected, their primary weapon is less effective against human physiology. He turned to tactical. Target their propulsion systems, let's send a message. The Relentless's main batteries fired once. Beams of concentrated energy sliced through the Scourge vessel's hull, disabling its engines with surgical precision. They're attempting to redirect power to weapons, reported the tactical officer. End it, Reed ordered simply. A second volley struck the alien ship, this time targeting critical systems. The Scourge vessel erupted in a series of explosions before breaking apart. In the sudden silence that followed, Reed studied the debris field. The first direct contact with the Scourge had lasted less than 5 minutes. Open a channel to all ships, Reed commanded. When the channel was ready, he spoke clearly, knowing his words would define their mission moving forward. This is Admiral Reed. We have confirmed that the Scourge's neural weapons have limited effect on humans. We've also confirmed that our weapons are effective against their ships. He paused, looking around at his bridge crew. The Scourge have been hunting vulnerable species across this sector. They thought they found easy prey. They've never met predators before. Throughout the fleet, humans from Earth evolved through millions of years of survival on one of the galaxy's most dangerous worlds, prepared for battle. What the Coalition feared in them would now become their greatest hope. Set course for Veltar. We hunt. The Veltar homeworld hung in space like a cracked jewel. Once a vibrant green and blue planet with sprawling cities of crystal and light, it now bore the scars of invasion. Massive fires were visible even from orbit, blackening entire continents. The Scourge fleet surrounded the planet, over 100 organic ships pulsing with malevolent energy. From the bridge of the Relentless, Admiral Reed surveyed the battlefield. Behind him, Ambassador Tella made a soft sound of distress. We're too late, she whispered. No, Reed said firmly. There are still millions of Veltar alive on the surface. Their central cities are holding, but they won't last much longer without help. The Admiral turned to his tactical officer. Implement Battle Plan Thunderstorm, all ships to assume attack formation Delta. Throughout the human fleet, crews moved with practiced efficiency. The larger battleships and cruisers formed a spear-like formation, with the destroyers flanking them as protective screens. The Relentless took position at the tip of the spear. Reed opened a fleet-wide channel. The enemy outnumbers us approximately 3-1. They've never faced humans before. Let's make sure they remember this encounter. He paused. Weapons free. Engage. The human fleet accelerated toward the Scourge armada. It was a direct frontal assault, a tactic that horrified the watching Luminari advisors. They can't possibly, Tella began, but the humans could. The Relentless struck first, its main cannons firing in perfect sequence. Beams of blinding energy tore through the nearest Scourge vessel, reducing it to floating debris. The rest of the human fleet followed suit, targeting the largest enemy ships with concentrated fire. The Scourge responded immediately, their ships breaking formation to counter the human attack. Waves of neural energy washed over the human fleet, but as with the scout ship encounter, the weapons proved far less effective than against other species. Humans experienced pain, disorientation, and in some cases temporary neural feedback, but remained conscious and functional. They're adapting, Commander Foster noted as the tactical display showed Scourge vessels switching to more conventional weapons, energy beams and projectiles. Reed nodded. As expected, now we see what they're really capable of. The battle quickly transformed into a brutal exchange of firepower. Scourge ships moved with surprising agility for their size, but human vessels responded with maneuvers that defied the expectations of both allies and enemies. The heavy human ships rotated and changed direction with precision that Coalition engineers had long considered impossible for vessels of their mass. 2 destroyers reporting moderate damage, Diaz called out. The Jefferson has lost engine power. Reed, acknowledged the report without taking his eyes off the tactical display. Order the 7th Squadron to cover Jefferson's retreat and launch the dropships. It's time to get our people on the ground. Lieutenant Anna Reyes checked her powered armor one final time as her dropship plummeted toward the Veltar capital city. Around her, 30 Marines did the same, their faces set with determination. "Remember your training," she called over the squad channel. "Veltar gravity is 0.7 Earth standard. Your jumps will carry you farther. Adjust accordingly." The team dropship shuddered as it entered the atmosphere, Scourge defensive fire exploding around them. Reyes gripped her rifle tighter. This would be humanity's first ground engagement with the enemy, and as squad leader she was determined to set the standard. 30 seconds to touchdown, the pilot announced. "LZ is hot. Repeat, landing zone is hot." The ship's bay doors opened, revealing a scene of chaos below. The Veltar capital, once a marvel of architectural beauty, was partially in ruins. Scourge ground forces swarmed through the streets, pursuing fleeing civilians. The aliens resembled large insectoid creatures with multiple limbs and segmented bodies, their carapaces gleaming darkly in the fires of the burning city. "Go, go, go!" Reyes shouted as the dropship hovered 10 meters above a central plaza. The Marines leaped from the bay, their powered armor absorbing the impact. Reyes hit the ground and immediately opened fire on the nearest Scourge soldiers, her rifle spitting high-velocity rounds that punched through their armored carapaces. The effect of the human arrival was immediate. The Scourge ground forces, accustomed to facing the physically weaker Veltar, found themselves confronted with enemies in powered armor that enhanced their already formidable strength. Human Marines moved with shocking speed, their armor systems compensating for the lower gravity to prevent overshooting. "Squad 2 and 3, secure the eastern approach," Reyes ordered. "Squad 1 with me, we're heading for the central dome. Intelligence suggests civilians are sheltering there." The Marines moved through the ruined streets, engaging Scourge troops at every turn. The aliens fought fiercely, but seemed confused by the humans' resistance to their neural weapons, which they continued to employ despite their limited effectiveness. Reyes's squad reached the central dome, a massive structure of translucent material that now bore numerous cracks and impact points. As they approached the main entrance, a group of Veltar defenders appeared, raising weapons uncertainly. The Veltar were tall, slender beings with iridescent skin and 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. They stared at the humans with a mixture of fear and hope. "We're from Earth," Reyes announced, her armor's external speakers translating her words. "We're here to help." The lead Veltar lowered his weapon. "You survived their mind weapons. Our nervous systems are different," Reyes explained simply. "Where are your people?" "Inside. Thousands of them. But the Scourge are breaking through the lower levels." Reyes nodded. "Show us." As the ground battle intensified, Reyes led her squad deeper into the dome complex. The interior was filled with Veltar civilians, many injured, all terrified. Children with large, frightened eyes watched as the armored humans moved past. In the lower levels, they found what the Scourge had been seeking. A makeshift laboratory had been set up with Veltar bodies on examination tables. Some were still alive, connected to strange machinery. "What is this?" Reyes asked, horror evident in her voice despite the armor's vocal filters. "A wounded Veltar," scientists struggled to explain. "They're harvesting our neural tissue, not just killing, consuming." Before Reyes could respond, an explosion rocked the chamber. Scourge soldiers poured through a breach in the wall, led by a larger specimen with enhanced armor and weapons. "Protect the civilians," Reyes shouted, raising her rifle. The battle was quick and brutal. In the confined space, the humans' powered armor gave them a decisive advantage. Reyes herself confronted the Scourge leader, her armor allowing her to match its strength as they grappled. The creature's mandibles clicked rapidly as it struggled against her. Then, to her surprise, it spoke in a harsh, translated voice. "What kind of hell planet spawned your kind?" Reyes responded by driving her combat knife through a gap in its carapace. "Earth," she answered simply. "And we're just getting started." In orbit, the tide of battle had turned. The human fleet had broken the Scourge formation, destroying or disabling nearly 40 enemy vessels. The remaining Scourge ships began to retreat, abandoning their ground forces. Admiral Reed watched with grim satisfaction. Order all ships to maintain pursuit. Don't let them regroup. He turned to Ambassador Tella, who had observed the entire battle in stunned silence. Your coalition has been running from these monsters, Reed said. We're going to hunt them down. Tella's luminescent skin pulsed with emotion. You fight like nothing we've ever seen. We evolved on a world that tried to kill us every day, Reed replied. Now we're going to show the Scourge what that means. Throughout the Veltar system, the hunters had become the hunted. The captured Scourge commander lay strapped to an examination table aboard the Relentless. Its chitinous exoskeleton clicked softly as it struggled against the restraints designed to hold something 3 times human strength. Around the table stood Admiral Reed, newly promoted Commander Anna Reyes, and 2 science officers. The neural interface is ready, sir, reported Dr. Winters, adjusting settings on a complex device connected to the alien's head. This should allow 2-way communication without relying on their translator technology. Reed nodded. Proceed. The Scourge commander's 4 eyes darted frantically as the device activated. Its mandibles clicked rapidly in what might have been pain or anger. Can you understand us now? Reed asked. A harsh mechanical voice emerged from the interface. I understand, Deathworlder. Reed's expression remained neutral, though the alien's use of the term was telling. We need information, the location of your hive ships and your command structure. The Scourge commander's body shuddered in what might have been laughter. You think to intimidate me? The collective will devour every neural pathway in this sector before the next stellar cycle. Dr. Winters monitored her instruments carefully. Admiral, I'm detecting unusual activity in its neural patterns. I believe it's attempting to self-terminate. Reed leaned closer to the alien. Before you die, know this. We've already destroyed half your fleet. We're resistant to your neural weapons. And now, we're coming for your hive ships. The Scourge commander's body stiffened suddenly, then went completely limp. But the instruments captured what they needed. We got it, Dr. Winters confirmed. Neural patterns, memory fragments, and coordinates. 3 major hive ships positioned in different systems. Reed studied the data on a nearby screen. They're too spread out. If we go after them one by one, they'll have time to coordinate a response or flee. Commander Reyes, standing silently until now, stepped forward. Then we don't go after them one by one. We split the fleet. 2 days later, Reed addressed the assembled ship commanders via holographic conference. The human fleet, reinforced by repair ships from Earth, had been divided into 3 battle groups. Intelligence from the captured commander gives us the locations of 3 Scourge hive ships, Reed explained. These are their command and control centers, each nearly 10 kilometers in length. They're heavily armed and house tens of thousands of Scourge, including their leadership caste. The tactical display showed the 3 targets, each in a different star system along the edge of charted space. Battle Group Alpha, under my command, will take the Relentless and 12 ships to the Nestus system to engage the largest hive ship. Battle Group Beta, under Captain Takeda, will target the hive ship in the Voran system. Battle Group Gamma, under Commander Reyes, will attack the 3rd hive ship in the Saros system. Reyes's recent promotion had raised some eyebrows, but her performance on Veltar had proven her tactical brilliance. Reed had personally recommended her advancement. We will attack simultaneously, preventing the Scourge from supporting each other. Launch is in 6 hours, that is all. As the other commanders' holograms faded, Ambassador Tella approached Reed. The Luminari diplomat had remained with the fleet, serving as liaison to the coalition forces that had finally begun to arrive. Admiral, the Luminari and Veltar support vessels are ready to assist. However, I must express concern about your strategy. Reed turned to her. What concerns you, Ambassador? Tella's skin pulsed with anxious blue light. Dividing your forces seems reckless. The coalition military advisors suggest a more cautious approach. The same advisors who have been losing To the Scourge for 2 years? Reed asked mildly. Tella's 4 hands gestured in a sign of concession. We are uncomfortable with your species' approach to warfare. The level of violence is necessary. Reed finished for her. The Scourge understand nothing but strength. We're giving them exactly what they deserve. Commander Reyes stood on the bridge of the UES Thunderchild, her new command. Though smaller than the Relentless, the heavy cruiser was still a formidable warship by any standard. Around her, her crew now worked efficiently at their stations. Battle Group Gamma consisted of the Thunderchild and 7 other vessels, including 2 specialized infiltration ships carrying Marine strike teams. Their target was the smallest of the 3 hive ships, but intelligence suggested it held thousands of captives from various species. Strike Team Nova is prepped and ready, Commander, reported Lieutenant Daniels, the Marine commander. Reyes nodded. Good. Remember, this is a rescue operation as well as an assault. Primary objective is to locate and extract any prisoners while the main fleet engages the hive ship's defenses. She studied the tactical display showing their approach vector to the SOS system. According to the intelligence they had extracted, the hive ship there was relatively isolated, with fewer support vessels. All ships, final checks complete, announced her first officer. FTL drives charged and ready. Reyes took a deep breath. Her first command, her first major battle as senior officer. She thought briefly of her squad members who had died on Veltar, their sacrifices bringing her to this moment. Begin FTL countdown, she ordered. Let's go hunting. The 3 battle groups struck simultaneously. In the Nestus system, Admiral Reed's ships engaged the largest hive ship and its escort fleet in a ferocious battle. The Relentless took heavy damage but pushed through the Scourge formation, targeting the hive ship's propulsion systems. In the Voran system, Captain Takeda employed a more cautious strategy, using the system's asteroid field for cover as his ships launched precision strikes against the second hive ship. In the SOS system, Reyes's battle group encountered unexpected resistance. The supposedly isolated hive ship had been reinforced with additional vessels. They knew we were coming, Reyes realized as her tactical display showed the Scourge formation. Adjust approach vector. All ships execute pattern Omega-6. The human vessels broke formation, scattering in seemingly random directions before regrouping in a new attack pattern. It was a maneuver no coalition species would have attempted, requiring reaction times and G-force tolerance unique to humans. The Scourge ships tried to track the erratic movements but failed to predict the humans' regrouping point. The Thunderchild burst through their defensive line, 2 destroyers flanking it closely. We've got an opening, Reyes announced. Infiltration ships proceed to drop point Alpha. Main fleet will provide cover. On the infiltration ship Phantom, Nova team prepared for deployment. 30 Marines in advanced powered armor checked weapons and systems, their faces set with the calm determination of professional soldiers. Remember, Lieutenant Daniels told them, we're looking for hostages. Intelligence suggests they're kept in the central sections of the hive ship. Watch for neural dampening fields. They might be using them to control the prisoners. The Phantom approached the massive hive ship, dodging defensive fire with impossible agility. Up close, the organic nature of the vessel became apparent. It resembled a massive insect hive with sections that pulsed and shifted like living tissue. 30 seconds to contact, the pilot announced, preparing to breach outer hull. The infiltration ship fired specialized penetrator rounds, designed to create an entry point in the hive ship's thick hull. As soon as the breach was confirmed, Nova team launched. Inside the hive ship, the Marines encountered immediate resistance. Scourge warriors swarmed toward the breach point, their neural weapons at full power. The humans pushed forward despite the pain, their armor systems partially, dampening the debilitating effects. Central chamber ahead, Daniels reported to Reyes via secure channel. Heavy resistance. We've lost 3 team members. Understood, Reyes responded from the Thunderchild. Reinforcements are coming. Hold position. As Nova team fought deeper into the hive ship, they made a horrifying discovery. The central chamber contained thousands of beings from dozens of species. all connected to organic machines that seemed to be extracting neural energy directly from their brains. "Commander." Daniel's voice was tight with controlled rage. "You need to see this." The visual feed from his helmet camera showed rows upon rows of captives, suspended in translucent pods. Many were clearly dead, their bodies withered husks. Others still lived, twitching in apparent agony. Reyes's grip tightened on the command rail. "Get them out, all of them." As Nova Team began the rescue operation, a new presence entered their minds. A powerful telepathic force that seemed to echo through the very structure of the hive ship. "Who dares?" The voice resonated in their thoughts. "Who brings the stench of Earth to my domain?" In the central chamber, a section of the wall parted to reveal an enormous chamber. Inside floated a massive scourge creature, 3 times larger than the warriors, with a bulbous head and elongated limbs. The Scourge Queen. Lieutenant Daniel stepped forward, his rifle raised. "Your hunting days are over." The Queen's telepathic laughter filled their minds. Deathworlders. So confident, so limited. Your minds contain such interesting fears. Daniel staggered suddenly, dropping to one knee as the Queen's mental attack intensified. Around him, other Marines faltered as well. But then something unexpected happened. The Queen's telepathic presence recoiled, as if encountering something. "Painful or frightening, what is this?" Her mental voice now he. The combined human luminary Veltar fleet moved through the darkness of uncharted space. At its center, the Relentless led the way, its once pristine hull now bearing the scars of multiple battles. Admiral Reed stood on the bridge, his face showing fatigue, but his eyes remained sharp and determined. "Status report on the fleet," he ordered. Commander Foster, her arm in a sling from injuries sustained in the previous engagement, studied the tactical display. 28 ships operational, Admiral. 7 at reduced capacity. We lost the Jefferson and Magellan in the attack on the hive ships. The Europa is being used to transport wounded. Reed nodded grimly. 2 ships lost, but they had destroyed 2 of the 3 Scourge hive ships. The third, commanded by the Queen that Commander Reyes had encountered, had escaped, but not before Nova Team freed over 3,000 captives and downloaded crucial data from the hive ship's biological computers. "And our allies?" Reed asked. "The Luminari have committed 12 support vessels. The Veltar have sent 5 warships, their entire remaining fleet. 3 other coalition species have contributed ships as well." Reed allowed himself a small smile. The coalition, which had once feared humanity for their aggressive nature and powerful ships, now followed them willingly into battle. Ambassador Tella entered the bridge, her luminescent skin pulsing with a steady blue glow that indicated calm, determination, an emotional state few humans had observed in Luminari before these events. "Admiral, the Coalition Council has transmitted their formal recognition of your authority as fleet commander for this mission," she announced. "This is unprecedented in our history." Reed acknowledged this with a nod. "Have they reviewed the data we sent regarding the Scourge homeworld?" "Yes," Tella replied, her 4 hands making a gesture of concern. "Many council members were disturbed by what we discovered. The data recovered from the hive ship had revealed the location of the Scourge origin system, a place the Queen's thoughts had desperately tried to hide from the human telepathic specialists who had briefly connected with her mind. "Coordinates are confirmed," announced the navigation officer. "We'll reach the Scourge homeworld in 6 hours." Reed turned to address his bridge crew. "This isn't just about revenge for the attacks on coalition worlds. The Scourge won't stop. Consuming neural energy from sentient beings, they can't stop. It's how they survive. This ends today." The Scourge homeworld was unlike anything the coalition species had encountered. A massive gas giant with toxic clouds swirling across its surface, orbited by 3 moons. Floating through the upper atmosphere were enormous organic structures, living cities that housed the Scourge civilization. "Those structures are alive," Dr. Winters reported from her science station. "They appear to be the same organic technology as their ships, but on a massive scale." Reed studied the sensor readings with a grim expression. Even for humans, the environment was hostile. High pressure, toxic atmosphere, and gravity nearly twice Earth standard. Few species could have evolved in such conditions. "They're hailing us," Lieutenant Diaz announced, surprise evident in her voice. "On screen," Reed ordered. The main view screen showed the Scourge Queen, her massive form suspended in a fluid-filled chamber. Her mental voice projected directly into the minds of everyone on the bridge. "Deathworlders," she began, the word now carrying a trace of respect mixed with hatred. "You have pursued us across the stars. Impressive, but futile." Reed stepped forward. "We've destroyed 2 of your hive ships and freed thousands of your captives. Surrender now, and we'll spare your homeworld." The Queen's telepathic laughter rippled through their minds. "Bold words, but I hold your people too." The image shifted to show dozens of humans in transparent containment pods, crew members captured during the battles with the hive ships. "For each attack on our cities, they will die in agony," the Queen continued. "Their neural energy is delicious. So much stronger than the weak species you protect." Reed's face hardened. "You have 1 hour to release all prisoners, human and coalition. After that, we attack." As the transmission ended, Reed turned to Commander Reyes, who had transferred to the Relentless after the successful mission to the 3rd hive ship. "Prepare a specialized infiltration team," he ordered. "Your mission is to locate and extract our people and any other prisoners." Reyes nodded. "We'll need environmental suits modified for the gas giant conditions." "Dr. Winters is already working on it," Reed replied. "This will be extremely high risk, Commander." Reyes's expression remained determined. "With respect, Admiral, risk is what humans do best." The infiltration ship descended through the toxic clouds of the gas giant, its hull creaking under the increasing pressure. Inside, Reyes and a team of 12 specialists wore the modified environmental suits, bulkier than standard equipment and reinforced to withstand the crushing atmosphere. Approaching the largest floating structure, the pilot reported. "Sensors indicate it's the central hive city." Reyes checked her weapons one final time. "Remember, our primary objective is rescuing the captives. The fleet will handle the military targets." The ship located a docking appendage, an organic tube that served as an entry point for Scourge vessels. Using captured authentication codes, they managed to gain access without triggering immediate alarms. Once inside, the team moved swiftly through the organic corridors of the hive city. The walls pulsed with a life of their own, and strange bioluminescent growths provided eerie lighting. "Life signs detected ahead," reported Specialist Monroe, monitoring a handheld scanner. "Multiple species, including human." They found the prison section guarded by elite Scourge warriors. The battle was brief, but intense, with the humans using specialized sonic weapons developed based on intelligence from previous encounters. The Scourge had a particular sensitivity to certain frequencies that disrupted their neural networks. Inside the prison chamber, they found the captured humans and dozens of other beings, all connected to neural extraction equipment. Working quickly, the team began disconnecting the prisoners. "Commander," Monroe called urgently, "these readings suggest we're directly below the Queen's chamber." Reyes made a quick decision. "Jackson, Rodriguez, continue the evacuation, the rest of you with me. We're paying Her Majesty a visit." In orbit, the battle had begun. The human coalition fleet engaged the Scourge defensive vessels while carefully avoiding damage to the floating cities housing civilian populations. Admiral Reed had been explicit. This was to be a targeted strike, not genocide. The Relentless took heavy fire as it pushed toward the largest city structure. Its powerful shields flickered under the assault, but the massive battleship continued its advance. "Status on Commander Reyes?" Reed demanded. "They've located the prisoners and are proceeding with evacuation," Foster reported. "But they've also, sir, they're heading for the Queen's chamber." Reed wasn't surprised. It was exactly what he would have done in Reyes's position. "The Queen is their central command node," he said. "If Reyes can neutralize her, this ends much more quickly." He turned to tactical. "Focus fire on these defensive positions. Create a path for our ground teams to retreat if necessary." Reyes and her team fought their way up through the organic city, encountering increasingly desperate resistance. The Kuros? Environment inside the structure was almost as hostile as the planet's atmosphere. Hot, humid, and filled with noxious gases that tested even their specialized equipment. They finally reached a massive chamber at the city's heart. Inside, the Scourge Queen floated in a transparent fluid, her enormous form dwarfing the humans. Dozens of neural connections linked her to the city itself. "I've been expecting you, Commander," her mental voice echoed in their minds. So predictable. Reyes aimed her weapon at the Queen's containment vessel. "It's over. Your hive ships are destroyed. Your fleet is being decimated. Surrender." The Queen's massive body shifted, her four eyes focusing intently on Reyes. "You believe you've won because you've destroyed our ships, our cities? We have existed for millennia before you crawled from your muddy world." A powerful telepathic blast struck the humans, driving them to their knees. Even through their mental shields, the Queen's power was overwhelming. "I can taste your thoughts, Deathworlder," she continued. "So much fear, buried beneath your confidence. Fear shaped your species, didn't it? You carry it always, hidden, but never absent." Reyes struggled back to her feet, fighting through the mental assault. "Yes, we know fear. We evolved with it, but that's not all we are." The Queen probed deeper into Reyes's mind, then recoiled suddenly, as if encountering something unexpected. "What is this?" The mental voice held surprise. "Such compassion? You fight with such violence, yet you care. For the weak? That's humanity," Reyes replied, advancing slowly. "We protect our own, and now that includes the species you've been hunting." Around the chamber, her team also regained their footing, moving to strategic positions. "Place the charges," Reyes ordered. "Target the neural connections, not the Queen herself." The Queen's mental presence became frantic. "You would sever me from the collective? That is worse than death." "It's justice," Reyes countered. "You'll stand trial for what you've done to countless innocent beings." As her team placed the specialized explosives, Reyes opened a channel to the Relentless. "Admiral, we have the Queen. Contained. Request immediate extraction." The aftermath. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council fell silent. 500 representatives from 17 peaceful star systems sat frozen in their seats. No one moved. No one spoke. On the large screen before them, another world died. Lumeria, home to 6 billion lumen people, vanished in waves of darkness. The beautiful blue planet with its 3 moons and famous rings was gone in less than a day. Ambassador Trell was the last lumen now. His blue skin looked pale under the bright lights of the hall. His 4 long, thin arms hung at his sides. He had watched his homeworld die from this very room, unable to do anything. "That is the 5th world lost to the Void Scourge in 30 days, said Elder Grey, the oldest member of the council. Her voice was soft but carried across the silent hall. Her gray feathers moved gently as she spoke. "Our scientists say we have maybe 1 month before it reaches the core worlds." "Our weapons do nothing," said Ambassador Nim, his 10 green eyes blinking in different patterns as he spoke. "The Void Scourge eats our energy beams. It grows stronger from our attacks." "We must leave this part of the galaxy," said another voice. "We must run." "Run where?" asked Elder Grey. "The Void Scourge moves faster than our best ships. It does not rest. It does not stop. It only eats and grows." Trell stepped forward. His people were gone, but he still had his duty. "The models show total destruction of all council worlds within 90 days, he said. His voice shook, but he kept speaking. "No world will survive. No people will escape. The Void Scourge will consume everything." The hall erupted in voices. Fear filled the air. Some cried. Some shouted. Some prayed to their gods. Elder Grey raised her feathered arms and slowly, the noise died down. "There is one option we have not tried," she said. Every word seemed to pain her. "One species that might help us." Ambassador Nim's eyes all widened at once. "No. You cannot mean—" "The humans," Elder Grey said. The hall exploded in noise again. Louder this time, angrier. The Deathworlders, they would destroy us themselves. They are savages, predators. Their world is poison. Their bodies are made of death. Elder Grey waited for the voices to quiet again. I have studied the humans for 200 years, she said. Yes, they come from a world that would kill any of us in minutes. Their planet has crushing gravity, extreme temperatures, deadly radiation, and thousands of predators. Their bodies contain metals and acids that would burn through our skin. She paused, looking around the room. But they are not evil. They fight, yes. They build weapons, yes. Their history is full of war. But they also create art. They care for their weak. They have ended many of their conflicts, and most importantly, they survive. Always they survive. Trell stepped forward again. My world is gone. My people are gone. If there is even a small chance the humans can help us against the Void Scourge, we must try. Elder Grey nodded. We will vote. Should we contact Earth and ask the humans for help? One by one, the representatives voted. The final count was 36-5. They would ask the humans for help. An hour later, Trell stood in the communications room with Elder Grey and 3 technicians. They had prepared a message translated into all major human languages. They aimed their strongest transmitter at a small blue-green planet in a distant spiral arm of the galaxy. Will they even answer? Trell asked. Elder Grey's old eyes looked tired. They have been watching the stars for centuries, hoping to find they are not alone. They will answer. The message was simple. To the people of Earth, we need help. Please respond. 3 days passed. The council stayed in session, tracking the Void Scourge as it consumed an uninhabited system. The fear in the Great Hall grew by the hour. On the 4th day, as Elder Grey was speaking about evacuation plans for the next threatened world, a technician rushed into the hall. They answered, he said, his words coming fast. The humans answered. The great screen lit up with an image that made many in the hall gasp or shrink back in their seats. A human face filled the screen. The being had sharp features, small eyes, and strange fur on the top of its head. Its skin was a pinkish brown, tough and thick compared to the delicate skin of most council races. This is Admiral Tom Walker of Earth United Space Command, the human said. Its voice was deep and rough. We have received your message and reviewed the data you sent. We understand you are facing a threat that has already destroyed 5 of your worlds. The human paused, and its face changed slightly. The council's xenologists would later explain this was called a determined expression on human faces. Earth has voted unanimously to help. We are preparing a fleet of our most advanced ships. With the faster-than-light drive specifications you sent us, we can reach your coordinates in 14 days. Murmurs spread through the hall. 14 days? The fastest council ships would take months to cross such a distance. What kind of engines did these humans have? Please send any additional information about this Void Scourge threat, the human continued. Attack patterns, weaknesses, anything that might help us prepare. Elder Grey stepped forward to respond. Thank you, Admiral Walker. We will send all we know, but I must warn you, our weapons have no effect on the Void Scourge. It consumes energy and grows stronger. We have nothing. That can hurt it. The human's mouth moved in a way that showed its teeth, a gesture that made several council members flinch. Later, they would learn this was called a smile. With respect, Elder Grey, Admiral Walker said, your people and ours evolved very differently. Your worlds are peaceful. Garden planets, we would call them. Gentle. Safe. The Admiral's face grew more serious. Earth is what our scientists call a death world. High gravity. Extreme weather. Natural disasters. Predators everywhere. We humans had to fight for every step of our evolution. Our bodies are built to survive. Our minds are wired to overcome threats. The Admiral leaned closer to the screen. You said you need help. We're bringing it. We're bringing ships built for war. We're bringing weapons designed to destroy. We're bringing soldiers trained to fight. The human paused, then added more softly. And we're bringing hope. Humans don't give up, ever. We'll see you in 14 days. The transmission ended, leaving the Great Hall in stunned silence. Trell looked at Elder Gray. What have we done? The old leader's feathers trembled slightly. We have called Deathworlders into our peaceful galaxy. We asked for help. She looked at the blank screen where the human's face had been, and they are bringing a fleet of destruction. Admiral Tom Walker turned away from the screen and faced the room full of Earth's most powerful leaders. 20 men and women sat around a large table, their faces serious in the dim light of Earth Command headquarters. That's the situation, Walker said. An alien coalition has asked for our help against something they call the Void Scourge. It has destroyed 5 of their worlds already. President Diaz leaned forward, her dark eyes focused. And they reached out to us specifically? Why, Dr. Lisa Reed, head of xenobiology, answered. They call us Deathworlders. Their message data shows they evolved on planets with low gravity, stable climate, and few predators. Earth would kill most of them in minutes. They're afraid of us, said General Stone, a tall man with gray hair. But they're more afraid of this Void Scourge. Walker nodded. Their worlds are being eaten alive. According to their data, nothing they try works against it. Their weapons just make it stronger. President Diaz walked to the window. Outside, the lights of New Washington shone bright against the night sky. Humanity had survived wars, plagues, climate disasters, and had finally united under one government 50 years ago. Now the stars were calling. The aliens sent us plans for faster-than-light travel, Walker continued. Our engineers say it works. We can reach their territory in 2 weeks if we start refitting our ships now. What exactly are we walking into, Admiral? Asked President Diaz. Walker pressed a button and a hologram appeared over the table. It showed a dark, swirling mass consuming a beautiful ringed planet. This is the Void Scourge, he said. Their data suggests it's some kind of superorganism that feeds on matter and energy. It appears to have a hive mind but no central brain. It learns and adapts quickly. Can we kill it? General Stone asked. Dr. Reed shook her head. Unknown. The Council races tried energy weapons which only made it grow. They have no projectile weapons like ours, no nuclear weapons, no antimatter bombs. Because they never needed them, said Walker. Their worlds never had the kind of threats that drove humans to build better ways to kill. President Diaz turned from the window. If we do this, we reveal ourselves to the galaxy. There's no going back. We become players on a stage we know nothing about. If we don't, Walker said quietly, billions more will die, and this Void Scourge might eventually find its way to Earth. The president nodded slowly. Prepare your fleet, Admiral. How many ships can we send? 17, ma'am. Our 7 largest battleships and 10 support vessels. We'll refit them with the alien FTL drives. And weapons? Walker's face was grim. Everything we have. 3 days later, Walker stood in the massive hangar of the orbital shipyard. The UES Defender, Earth's largest warship, floated outside the huge windows. Workers in spacesuits swarmed over its hull, installing the new drive system. Captain Reed approached, her uniform crisp despite having worked for 20 hours straight. The retrofits are on schedule, Admiral, she reported. All 17 ships will be ready in 5 days. Walker nodded. Crew selection? Complete. The best we have. Many volunteered as soon as the news broke. Earth had been buzzing with excitement since the government announced first contact. Humans were not alone in the universe, but the joy was mixed with concern. Their first step into galactic society would be as warriors. The alien data packets keep coming in, Reed said, handing Walker a tablet. Their science is amazing in some areas, but... She hesitated. But what, Captain? They have no concept of war, sir. Not as we understand it. Their history has no world wars, no nuclear standoffs, no mass conflicts. They evolved without the constant threat of extinction that shaped humans. Walker looked out at the Defender. The ship was over a mile long, built to protect Earth from threats that never came. Now it would protect aliens who couldn't protect themselves. What kind of people will they think we are? He wondered aloud. when we arrive with ships built. For war? Reed's reply was simple. The kind who answer when someone calls for help. A week later, Admiral Walker stood on the bridge of the Defender as the final preparations were made. 17 ships, 8,000 crew members. Enough firepower to destroy a small moon. Admiral, called the communications officer. Incoming message from the Galactic Council. The main screen showed Elder Gray, her feathers more ruffled than in previous messages. Admiral Walker, she said, her voice tense. The Void Scourge has changed course. It's heading for the Proxima system. 3 billion people live there. They're starting evacuations, but there's not enough time. Walker leaned forward. How long until it reaches Proxima? 4 days. Our fastest ships take 3 days to reach them. Walker looked at his command team, then back at the screen. We're ready to launch now. Send us the coordinates for Proxima. We'll meet you there. Elder Gray's eyes widened. You would go directly into battle? Without meeting the Council first? People need help, Walker said simply. That's where we'll go. After the transmission ended, Walker turned to the bridge crew. All ships prepare for jump. Battle stations. Throughout the Defender and the other 16 ships, alarms sounded. Crew members ran to their posts. Weapon systems came online. Engines hummed with power. Captain Reed stood at Walker's side as the fleet prepared to make humanity's first faster-than-light jump. We're about to make history, she said. Walker nodded. Let's hope we make the right kind. All ships report ready. Admiral, announced the tactical officer. Walker took a deep breath. Behind him was Earth, the deadly world that had shaped humanity into survivors. Ahead was a galaxy of gentle beings who had never known true danger until now. Engage FTL drives, he ordered. The stars stretched and blurred outside the viewport. There was a moment of strange pressure, a twist in reality that made everyone on the bridge catch their breath. Then the Defender and its 16 companion ships vanished from Earth's orbit. In the silent space they left behind, humanity's future changed forever. They had been alone for all their history, fighting and surviving on their deadly world. Now, they were taking their first steps into a wider universe. They had been called Deathworlders by peaceful aliens who feared them. But they were bringing something else besides death. They were bringing hope, and they were bringing a fleet of destruction for whatever threatened the peace. The human fleet burst out of faster-than-light travel in a flash of blue light. 17 ships arranged in perfect formation, slowed to normal speed at the edge of the Proxima system. Admiral Walker stood on the bridge of the Defender, taking in the view on the main screen. Proxima had 2 suns, one large and yellow, one small and red. 4 planets orbited the stars. The third planet, green and blue like Earth but smaller, was home to 3 billion people. Status report, Walker ordered. All ships present and functional, Admiral, reported Captain Reed. No damage from the jump, weapons and shields at full power. Any sign of the Void Scourge? Lieutenant Park at the sensor station shook his head. Nothing yet, sir, but I'm detecting over 100 alien ships near the third planet. They appear to be evacuation vessels. Open a channel to whoever's in charge, Walker said. A moment later, the screen showed a surprised alien face. The being had 4 eyes and skin that changed colors as it spoke. This is Defense Commander Lox of the Proxima Protection Fleet. Who, what? Are you? I'm Admiral Tom Walker of Earth United Space Command. The Galactic Council requested our help against the Void Scourge. We understand it's heading for your system. The alien's skin flashed several colors. Earth? The Death World? The Council actually contacted you? Walker nodded. We're here to help evacuate your people and, if possible, stop the Scourge. The alien seemed to struggle with this news. Our long-range sensors detected your ships arriving. Your energy signatures are unlike anything we've seen. Are those weapon systems? Yes, Walker said simply. Now how can we help with the evacuation? Before Commander Lox could answer, a new alarm sounded on the bridge. Admiral, Lieutenant Park called. Something just entered the system on the far side of the second sun. It's huge. The screen split to show another view. A dark mass moved toward the system's planets. It looked like a storm cloud, but darker, with long tendrils reaching out in all directions. It was the size of a small moon. "That's the Void Scourge," Commander Locke said, his voice shaking. "It's early. We thought we had another day at least." Walker turned to Captain Reed. "How many people have been evacuated from the planet?" Reed checked with her team. "According to Proxima data, only about 20% of the population. The rest are still planet-side." Walker made his decision quickly. "Commander Locke, continue your evacuation. Get as many people off that planet as possible. My fleet will engage the Scourge and try to slow it down." The alien commander's skin turned pale. "Engage it? No weapon works against it. You'll only make it stronger." "We'll see about that," Walker said. "Walker out." The screen returned to the view of the approaching Void Scourge. It moved faster than Walker expected, already passing the system's first planet. "All ships, battle formation Alpha," Walker ordered. "Prepare conventional weapons first. We'll test what works without risking the big guns until we know more." The 17 human ships moved into a wide arc, placing themselves between the Void Scourge and the populated planet. "What do we know about this thing?" Walker asked Dr. Bell, the science officer. Bell studied her screens. "It appears to be a single organism with multiple parts like a colony. It absorbs matter and energy to grow. The Council races tried energy weapons, which only fed it. But they never tried kinetic weapons," Walker said. "Prepare missile barrage, non-nuclear. Target the center mass." Captain Reed relayed the orders. A minute later, hundreds of missiles launched from the human ships, streaking toward the dark mass of the Void Scourge. The bridge crew watched in tense silence as the missiles hit their target. Explosions bloomed across the surface of the Scourge. Chunks of its dark matter broke off and floated away. For a moment, hope rose on the bridge. Then the broken pieces moved back toward the main body, reattaching themselves. The damage healed quickly, but the Scourge did slow its advance. "It felt that," Walker said. "It can be hurt." "Sir," called Lieutenant Park. "We're being hailed. It's Elder Gray from the Council." The screen showed the feathered alien, who looked shocked. "Admiral Walker, you're engaging the Void Scourge directly? This is not what we expected." "You asked for help, Elder. This is what help looks like from humans. But your fleet, you're placing yourselves between the Scourge and Proxima." Walker nodded. "That's where we need to be to protect those people." Elder Gray's feathers trembled. No species in Council space would do this. None would risk themselves for others this way. "Then you've been missing out on good allies," Walker said. "Now I need information. Our missiles heard it but didn't stop it. What else do you know about this thing?" As they spoke, a small Council ship approached the human fleet. It carried Elder Gray and several other Council members who wanted to observe the humans in action. When their ship docked with the Defender, the aliens were met by Captain Reed and a small welcome team. The meeting between humans and aliens was strange for both sides. Elder Gray and her team stood just over 4 feet tall, with delicate bodies that moved carefully in Earth-normal gravity. The humans towered over them, their dense muscles and solid bones making them look like giants. To the Council species, "Your ship," Elder Gray said as they walked toward the bridge. "It's built entirely for war." Reed nodded. "The Defender is our best battleship. All our ships are designed to protect Earth." "From what? What enemies do you face that require such weapons?" Reed thought about Earth's long history of war. "Mostly ourselves until we unified. After that, we built these ships to protect against any threats from space." "You expected threats?" asked another alien, a green-skinned being named Pell. "We hoped for friends," Reed said, "but we prepared for enemies." They reached the bridge as the Void Scourge began moving again, heading toward the human fleet. Walker nodded to the alien visitors but kept his attention on the threat. "Dr. Bell, what's your analysis?" he asked. "The Scourge adapts quickly," Bell reported. "It's already changing its outer layer to resist our missiles. But its center seems more vulnerable. If we could reach it..." Walker turned to Elder Gray. "Your people have studied this thing longer than we have. Does it have a brain? A control center?" Elder Gray moved to the science station, her movements careful in the stronger gravity. "We detected increased energy patterns here," she said, pointing to a spot deep within the scourge. "But we could never reach it." Walker smiled, showing teeth that made some aliens step back nervously. "We might be able to." He turned to Tactical. "Prepare the Sunforge weapon on my command." The alien visitors looked confused. "Sunforge? Elder?" Gray asked. Captain Reed explained. "It's a focused antimatter beam. We developed it to deflect asteroids from Earth. We've never used it in actual combat." The aliens stared in shock. Antimatter weapons were beyond their technology. On the screen, the Void Scourge moved closer, its dark tendrils reaching toward the human ships. It had learned from the first attack and was changing strategy. "All ships, evasive maneuvers," Walker ordered. "Don't let those tendrils touch you." The human fleet broke formation, moving with a speed and precision that amazed the watching aliens. The Scourge tried to catch them, but the ships were too quick. "Sunforge charged and ready, Admiral," reported the weapons officer. Walker nodded. "Target the center point Elder Gray identified. Fire when ready." The defender shuddered as the weapon discharged. A blinding beam of energy lanced out, cutting through the darkness of space and striking the Void Scourge at its heart. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The Scourge writhed as if in pain. Its tendrils flailed wildly. A sound like a scream came through the ship's sensors, making everyone on the bridge cover their ears. "Direct hit," shouted the tactical officer. Walker watched as the Scourge's movements became less coordinated. "All ships, fire missiles at the damaged area. Don't let it recover." The human fleet launched another barrage, this time focused on the wound created by the Sunforge. The missiles drove deep into the Scourge, exploding inside its body rather than on the surface. The Void Scourge began to break apart, pieces of it drifting in different directions. But then, to everyone's surprise, the pieces started to pull back together. "It's healing itself again," Reed said. Walker frowned. "But slower, this time. We hurt it badly." He turned to Elder Gray. "This thing can be killed. We just need to hit it harder." "All ships pull back and regroup," Admiral Walker ordered. The human fleet moved away from the wounded Void Scourge, which was slowly healing itself. On the bridge of the Defender, Elder Gray and the Council representatives watched with wide eyes. They had never seen anything like this battle. "Your weapons actually hurt it," Elder Gray said, her voice filled with wonder. "In all our encounters, nothing has even slowed it down." Walker nodded. "But it's not enough. The Scourge is learning, adapting to our attacks." Dr. Bell studied her screens. "Admiral, I'm detecting something strange. The Scourge is changing its structure. It's creating some kind of shells around its core. It's protecting its weak point," Captain Reed said. Walker turned to Elder Gray. "How many more evacuation ships can reach Proxima in the next few hours?" "Perhaps 20, the alien leader replied. "But that will only save another 5% of the population. We need more time." Walker looked at the main screen. The dark mass of the Void Scourge was regrouping, its pieces coming back together. They had hurt it, but not enough. "Captain Reed, what's the status of our nuclear arsenal?" Reed checked with Tactical. "All ships report nuclear missiles ready, sir," the alien visitors gasped. Nuclear weapons were banned in Council space. They were considered too destructive, too dangerous. "You would use such weapons?" asked Pell, the green-skinned alien. "The radiation will dissipate in open space," Walker finished. "And right now we need more firepower." He turned to the tactical station. "Prepare a full nuclear strike. Target pattern Omega. All ships to fire on my command." As the fleet prepared its next attack, Dr. Bell approached Walker with a concerned, "Look, Admiral, I've been analyzing the Scourge's recovery pattern. It's not just healing, it's learning. Each time we hit it, it adapts its structure to resist that specific attack." "Can it adapt to nuclear weapons?" Walker asked. "Unknown, but I believe we should save our strongest weapons until we know exactly where to hit it." Walker considered this. "What do you suggest?" Bell pointed to her screen. "The Scourge's center, what we think is its brain, is moving. It's hiding inside the mass, surrounded by layers of protection. If we use all our nuclear weapons now, we might not penetrate deep enough. Walker nodded slowly. So we need to find a way to expose the center first, then hit it with everything we have. Exactly, sir. Walker turned to Elder Gray. Your people have studied this thing longer than we have. Did you ever detect any reaction to specific environmental conditions? Heat, cold, radiation? Elder Gray thought for a moment. There was one observation. When the scourge passed through the Krell Nebula, it avoided the densest regions. The nebula contains high concentrations of cadmium and selenium gases. Dr. Bell's eyes widened. That could be useful. Those elements have unique electromagnetic properties. Walker made a decision. New plan. Lieutenant Park, calculate a course to the nearest edge of the Proxima star. Captain Reed, have engineering prepare to modify our shield harmonics to match the frequency Dr. Bell specifies. The bridge crew moved quickly to follow orders. The alien visitors looked confused. What are you planning? Elder Gray asked. Walker pointed to the system's yellow sun. We're going to try to drive the scourge into the star's corona. The electromagnetic radiation might disrupt its structure enough for us to target the center. That's incredibly dangerous, Pell protested. Your ships would have to fly dangerously close to the star. Our shields can handle it, Walker said. For a short time, at least. The plan was risky, but it was their best chance. Walker explained the strategy to the fleet, and the ships moved into position. All ships, adjust shield frequencies as specified, Walker ordered. Prepare for close solar approach. The human fleet formed a wide semicircle, with the void scourge on one side and the star on the other. As they watched, the scourge finally finished reassembling itself. It was smaller than before, having lost mass from the earlier attacks, but still massive. It's moving again, reported Lieutenant Park, heading directly for Proxima Prime. Walker nodded. Right into our trap. All ships, begin the maneuver. The human ships started firing missiles, not at the scourge itself, but around it, creating a corridor that led toward the star. The scourge, seeking to avoid the explosions, moved along this path. It's working, Reed said. It's following our lead. Walker watched intensely. Status of evacuation ships? 15 more have launched from Proxima Prime, Park reported. They're moving to safe distance. The scourge continued following the path created by the human missiles, moving closer to the star's burning surface. The human ships kept pace, their advanced shields glowing as they protected them from the increasing heat and radiation. Temperature outside the shields is approaching 15,000 degrees, reported the engineering officer. Shields holding at 80%. The void scourge seemed to realize the trap too late. As it approached the star's corona, the outer ardor layers of the sun reached out with fiery tendrils as if hungry for the dark matter creature. The star's magnetic field is affecting it, Dr. Bell called out. The scourge's structure is destabilizing. Walker leaned forward. Now's our chance. All ships target the center mass with nuclear missiles. Fire. From all 17 human ships, nuclear missiles launched, streaking toward the void scourge as it writhed in the star's corona. The explosions were blinding, even with the screen's filters in place. The bridge crew watched as the nuclear fire tore through the scourge's weakened outer layers, driving deep into its body. The creature's movements became erratic, desperate. We've hit the center, Bell shouted. Its energy signature is fluctuating. For a moment, hope surged on the bridge. But then, impossibly, the scourge began to pull itself back together again. Even after nuclear strikes, even in the burning corona of a star, it was healing. It's adapting too quickly, Walker said, his voice grim. We need something more. He turned to his weapons officer. Prepare the quantum destabilizer. The officer looked shocked. Sir, that's only been tested in simulations. We don't know if it will work or what the side effects might be. We're out of options, Walker said. The scourge is learning from every attack. If we don't stop it now, we might not get another chance. The quantum destabilizer was Earth's most secret weapon. a device that could theoretically disrupt the quantum bonds holding matter together. It had never been used in actual combat because of its unknown effects. Elder Gray stepped forward. "Admiral, what is this weapon?" Walker met her eyes. "Something we hoped we'd never need to use. But your people called us because you needed help that no one else could provide." He turned back to the screen. "This is what Deathworlders do when faced with extinction. We find a way to survive no matter the cost." Walker gave the order. "Target the Scourge's center. Fire the quantum destabilizer." The defender shuddered as the weapon discharged. There was no visible beam, no explosion. Instead, a ripple moved through space, distorting everything it passed through. When it reached the Void Scourge, the effect was immediate. The creature seemed to come apart at a fundamental level, its matter separating into smaller and smaller pieces. A high-pitched sound filled the sensors so loud that everyone on the bridge covered their ears. The Void Scourge was screaming as it died. Then silence. Where the massive creature had been, only scattered dark particles remained, drifting into the star's hungry flames. "Is it dead?" Captain Reed asked quietly. Dr. Bell checked her readings. "The central energy signature is gone. I think we did it." The bridge erupted in cheers. The human crew celebrated their victory with handshakes and backslaps. The alien visitors watched in amazement. Elder Gray approached Walker. "You did what we thought was impossible. You destroyed the Void Scourge." Walker nodded, but his expression remained serious. "For now. But we should check if there are more of these things out there." The old alien leader looked at the humans with new understanding. "Now I see why your kind survived on a death world. You never stop fighting, even when victory seems impossible." Walker smiled slightly. "That's humanity's greatest strength. And now, it's the galaxy's greatest protection." 2 weeks after the battle at Proxima, Admiral Walker stood in the Great Hall of the Galactic Council. The room was larger than any building on Earth, with a high dome that showed the stars above. 500 representatives from 17 star systems watched the human delegation with mixed feelings of fear, respect, and gratitude. Captain Reed stood at Walker's side, along with Dr. Bell and 5 other officers from the Defender. They were the first humans to officially visit the Council's central world. Elder Gray raised her feathered arms for silence, and the murmurs in the hall died down. "Today we welcome the representatives of Earth," she announced, her voice carrying across the vast space. 3 weeks ago, we sent a desperate message to their world. We called for help against an enemy that had already destroyed 5 of our worlds. An enemy we could not stop." She turned to look at the humans. "These people, these Deathworlders, as we called them, answered our call. They did not hesitate. They did not bargain. They came with ships of war and weapons of incredible power. They placed themselves between the Void Scourge and the people of Proxima, and they destroyed the enemy we thought was unstoppable." A sound like gentle rain filled the hall as the council members tapped their hands or appendages together, their version of applause. Admiral Walker stepped forward to speak. He had practiced with Elder Gray to keep his words simple and clear. For translation, "People of the Galactic Council," he began. "Earth is honored to meet you. For centuries, humans looked at the stars and wondered if we were alone. Now we know we are not. We have found friends among the stars." He paused, looking around the Great Hall. "The Void Scourge is gone, but we have learned it was not the only one of its kind. Our scientists have detected similar energy signatures in distant parts of the galaxy. They are far away now, but they may come here someday." Worried whispers spread through the hall. Walker continued. "Earth offers an alliance with the Galactic Council. We will share our technology, our weapons, and our knowledge of survival. In return, we ask to learn from your peaceful civilizations, your advanced sciences, and your wisdom of living in harmony." Elder Gray spoke next. "The Council has already voted on this matter. The vote was unanimous. We accept Earth's offer of alliance." More applause filled the hall, louder this time. But then Ambassador Nim, his green eyes blinking rapidly, rose to speak. "I have a question for the humans," he said. "Your ships, your weapons, the way you think and fight. These things frighten, Many of us. How do we know you won't use these against us one day? A tense silence fell over the hall. It was the question many were thinking, but few dared to ask. Walker looked at Reed, who nodded slightly. They had prepared for this. Ambassador Nim asks a fair question, Walker said. Humans have a long history of conflict. Our world shaped us to be fighters. For thousands of years, we fought each other over land, resources, and ideas. He paused, choosing his words carefully. But we learned. Slowly, painfully, we learned that survival is not just about being strong or having powerful weapons. It's about working together. 50 years ago, Earth united under one government. We turned our energy to exploration and discovery. We still have our weapons, yes, but now we use them to protect, not to conquer. Walker walked a few steps closer to Nim. You fear us because we come from a death world. Because our bodies are strong and our minds are shaped by struggle. I understand that fear. But I ask you to look at what we did. We came when you called. We fought for people we had never met. We risked our lives to save yours. He turned to address the entire council. That is also what humans are. We protect those who cannot protect themselves. We stand against threats that others cannot face. We brought a fleet of destruction, yes. But we used it to save lives, not take them. Elder Gray moved to stand beside Walker. I have spent time with these humans, she said to the council. I have seen how they live on their ships. They care for each other. They laugh. They create art and music. They are not the monsters we feared. They are people, shaped by a hard world, but still people. She raised a data tablet. The human leaders have proposed a treaty. Earth will help establish a defense force to protect council worlds. They will train volunteers from any species who wishes to join. They will share their technology but never force it on worlds that don't want it. The hall was silent as the council members considered this. Ambassador Nim spoke, again. And what do humans want in return? Captain Reed stepped forward this time. A place in this galaxy, she said simply. Friends. Knowledge. The chance to learn from civilizations older and wiser than our own. Earth has been alone for all our history. We don't want to be alone anymore. The simple honesty of her words seemed to touch many in the hall. Elder Gray called for a vote on the treaty. The result was displayed on large screens. 493 in favor, 7 against. The treaty is accepted, Elder Gray announced. Let this day mark the beginning of a new era for the Galactic Council, an era of cooperation with Earth. Later that day, Walker stood with Reed on a balcony overlooking the council city. The buildings were tall and graceful, made of materials that seemed to glow from within. The sky was a soft purple with 3 small moons visible even in daylight. Beautiful, Reed said. So different from Earth. Walker nodded. Peaceful, no natural disasters, no dangerous animals. No wonder they evolved so differently from us. Do you think it will work? Reed asked. This alliance? We're so different from them. I think that's why it will work, Walker replied. They need what we can teach them about survival and protection. We need what they can teach us about peace and harmony. He looked up at the stars, just becoming visible as the day ended. For all our history, humans fought to survive on our dangerous world. We became strong because we had to. We built weapons because we needed them. Now finally we can use that strength for something more than just surviving. We can help others survive too, Reed finished. A soft sound made them turn. Elder Gray had joined them on the balcony. The first defense training center will open next month, she said. Already, thousands from across the council worlds have volunteered. That's good news, Walker said. They want to learn from the Deathworlders, Elder Gray said, a hint of amusement in her voice. They want to be strong like humans. And we want to learn how to build a peaceful society that lasts for thousands of years like you have, Walker replied. Elder Gray looked out at her beautiful, peaceful city. When we sent that message to Earth, we were desperate. We asked for help against a terrible enemy. You brought a fleet of destruction as we feared. She turned to the humans, her old eyes wise and kind. But you also brought hope. You showed us that strength without compassion is empty, but compassion without strength cannot survive. Together, perhaps we can build something greater than either of us could alone. As night fell on the Council world, ships from Earth arrived. In orbit. Not warships this time, but vessels carrying scientists, teachers, artists, and diplomats. The Deathworlders had come to stay, bringing not destruction but the promise of a stronger, safer galaxy for all.